I often use or reference this page on Serebii because it's a stat rankings chart. I mean, there's nothing more useful than something like this. Right now we have the total base stats, so you're going to see a lot of legendary or mega Pokemon, but it works for pretty much anything, and it's really helpful. Like, oh man, I need a sweeping Pokemon on my team. I need something super fast, so you click on speed, and then you can just kind of look for Pokemon that you might be interested in. Alright, we have a lot of Megas right here. You only get one on your team. Maybe you don't want that, but hey, look at this. Jolteon's a fast Pokemon. Aerodactyl's fast. Crobat, and then you can try to look for other stats and stuff, how hard they hit, how useful they might be to your team, something like that. And then any stat. Alright, defense. What is the highest defense Pokemon? Well, it's actually Mega Steelix, Shuckle, and Aggron all tied, but Thomas has taken this a step further, and he messaged me this a while ago, and I've been wanting to make a video, but this is really good for just team building, monotyping, or just getting a really balanced team. Now, right now, I'm in a really hard spot because Pokemon Sun and Moon is coming out in 5 months. There's really no point of making guides, but the size of my channel has like doubled in the last year or so. I don't really have the exact stats right there, but in the year without a new Pokemon game, I've gained the largest amount of audience, so a lot of people that have seen the older guides, they either want updates or they just haven't seen the guides. Like, who remembers this? My perfect team building series. A lot of these videos probably don't have insane amount of views, so yeah, look at me back there. Oh boy, that's two... Is that over 2 years ago now? Or something like that? Yeah, I think that's definitely over 2 years ago, back when I wore the Gunners and stuff. But 38,000 views compared to, you know, that's, what, 15% of my current audience or something like that? I can't math, but that sounds like a good number. I would say that this is one of the most comprehensive and in-depth guides, like, series that I've ever made, because it breaks down a lot of things, like this right here, the most efficient EV training. There's actually, like, a way of optimizing and, like, breaking down the stats actually very properly, but there's really not enough reason for the next couple months make this, since it's going to get completely scrapped in Pokemon Sun and Moon. I also had, like, an X and Y team building guide, an Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire team building guide. They're fairly outdated at this point, like, they're still very useful. Like, you can click on these and probably learn something. But at the same time, I've gotten better at battling in the last 2 years, especially with, like, the whole development of metagame and just focusing on Pokemon more than ever for my channel. But it kind of covered concepts and basics like that. Like, what you need is a tank, you know, a tank. You could go for defensive tanks, special defense tanks. You also need sweepers, so I did a couple on sweepers. Actually, 3 videos, because physical sweepers, special sweepers, boosting sweepers, tanks, metagame, anti-meta Pokemon. So I just listed off, like, very useful Pokemon, and one of the main things I used was the Serebii guide, and it's also what I use when I'm regularly team building. That if I already have 3 or 4 Pokemon decided for my team, I need to really step it up. It's like, okay, what is really destroying me right now? Oh man, fire types are a weakness, so I'm going to look for a very specific Pokemon that'll help dealing with this, especially if it's like physical or special, I can pinpoint it, or if I need more offense, sweeper, whatever, that's what you can do right here. However, typing is a very crucial part of Pokemon, and it's also something I've ignored the most. Now, I'm not going to say that typing is irrelevant when I'm doing team building and stuff, but it's kind of the last thing I consider. I want the more powerful Pokemon. I want to use specific Pokemon, specific strategies, and if I'm lacking in damage or if I'm lacking in type effectiveness or tankiness right there, it's kind of a bad thing. But this is like perfect, because you can see the strongest Pokemon for every type, for every stat. I think that this is still relevant now, and it will be relevant going into Pokemon Sun and Moon. So also, you know, it's a top, I wouldn't even say like top 10, but like a best chart, a rankings chart. It's always fun. It's going to be a lot more entertaining than just kind of like listing off something like this or going through this. So let's go and check it out. Also, like, monotype teams can really make use of this. You know, if you need a really fast bug type Pokemon, consider Ninjask. It's the fastest bug type Pokemon. So these are going to be the top Pokemon in the stats, and also kind of removes the searching for this. It's like, which Pokemon has the best stat? You know, you don't have to really dig as much when you're just looking for the top stats right here. So for bugs, surprisingly, already, like, the first little block right here is Yanmega with the highest hit point stat of all bug-type Pokemon at only 86 base hit points. That's trivia, that's craziness, and that's already surprising. Same with Escavalier. We don't see this Pokemon that often, but has the highest attack. Now, from what I'm seeing, doesn't factor in Megas, and I think that's pretty fair because Megas kind of changed up. You only get one. So if you see, like, all Megas, it's like, okay, this list really isn't that useful. Shuckle has highest defense, special defense in the game, and then we also have Volcarona with special attack and Ninjask for speed. So that works out pretty well. And then again, like, you're going to see some surprising things on this list. Dark-type Pokemon, Mandibuzz, highest hit points, Scrafty, highest defense. Now, we already know that Umbreon is a mad special defense tank, that all the evolutions, they have like specific stat breakdowns, with 130 being the highest stat. So Umbreon's going to be your special defense baller for the evolutions, and then representing Dark-type Pokemon. Also, base stat total, very helpful for like pseudo-legendary Pokemon, as we can see right here with Dragon types. Yeah, we have all the pseudo-legendary dragons holding it down. And as you can see, it's not factoring in legendary Pokemon because, again, defeats the purpose. This is more like the interesting trivia side of things. Now, one thing that did surprise me is you can see how specialized each dragon is. You know, Garchomp, a lot of people have been switching over to like a full tank defensive setup, bulk, rough skin nastiness of a Garchomp. But it's actually Haxorus that has the highest attack of all dragons. We have defense, special attack, special defense. Everyone knew Goodra was the boss, and then speed. So really, all these Pokemon are holding it down their own stats. Not like one dragon dominates most of the stats or anything, which is pretty cool. Now, we will see with Electrics, Magnezone, very powerful right here, but Lantern. So if you're looking for a Pokemon like Lantern, it's an incredible Pokemon, honestly. 125 base hit points. It's not like Rotom Wash in that it has the Levitate ability, but it's still a really good typing, doesn't have too many weaknesses, and it's very powerful overall. So if you're looking for like a very health bulky, switch-in kind of Pokemon for a Lantern or a Water Electric typing, you can get that on your side. Magnezone, now we're starting to see some duplicates right here. Magnezone, huge amount of defense, huge amount of special attack, so is going to be right there. And special defense on the Rotom with 107. I really love the graphics here. I mean, you could have just made a text list like, okay, yeah, blah, 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 Electrode's fast, we already knew this. Base stat total, though, this might be surprising. Electivire, for as little as we see it, actually the highest base stat total electric Pokemon. And then there's also some really fun extra stuff right here. This doesn't really work out competitively, but still interesting, you know. We have Scolipede, the tallest and heaviest bug-type Pokemon. We have BMI. Now, I don't really know the factoring into BMI, but there we go. We actually have it to where Bagon is one of the densest Pokemon actually, it is the densest dragon-type Pokemon. Same with Klefki. And one thing that's actually surprising me is, like, fairy types are not heavy at all. Mr. Mime is actually the heaviest fairy-type Pokemon. I didn't believe it, but then I checked, I'm like, wow, interesting. So we have a lot of good list stuff right here. Fairy types also have a lot of differences. Now, Florges, surprisingly, the highest base stat total for all fairy typings. Right here, we have Whimsicott, we have Gardevoir, so we see a lot of Pokemon that are used competitively, and then ones that you wouldn't really expect to be on this list because they're not used that often. Naturally, Talonflame going to have the highest speed for Fire-type Pokemon. Flareon's very tanky as well, like, or not very tanky, but has that surprising 110 on the special defense. Chandelure, mad amounts of special attack. Darmanitan, mad amounts on the attack. But that shows that all these very specialized Pokemon, they have weaknesses in some way. That Chandelure is very frail. Darmanitan, you have to kind of scarf it to get the most out of it, and Emboar isn't a very fast Pokemon at all. So to really get these Pokemon going, you can kind of see the drawbacks. And Arcanine, it's actually getting a lot of play in double battles because the Intimidate is very powerful. You even see it in singles from time to time. Just a natural bulk, just mess of stats right here on the Arcanine. Getting back into whatever Dragons dual type into. 600 base stat total for the Salamence and the Dragonite. Ninjask, again, it's just such a fast Pokemon. Mantine might surprise some of you guys. It's one of those like, it's so weird because you see a lot of physical tanks getting a lot of priority in the metagame, and when you're breaking it down for other Pokemon, like, you know, Skarmory, it's going to be very tanky. There's a lot of physical attackers in the game, and it seems like a lot of teams struggle finding a special defense tank. But you can kind of go and say, hey, I want a special defense tank on my team, and you can weigh up what you want. You know, Umbreon, very powerful. Goodra is amazing. Florges has a lot of really good tools in the 6th generation, or in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. It gets Synthesis from the tutor moves. It didn't have Synthesis before, so now it has Sustain, and it can be a very specialized tank in that regard. It gets Calm Mind. So what you want to do is you want to use these as references. Find other Pokemon that might fit on your team, and then look into movesets, look into incorporating them, seeing if they bring together what your team needs. You could do something like, oh man, I really love Archeops. It's so great to see this Pokemon right here. Maybe I should try it out. I thought it wasn't this powerful or something like this, so it can really break down. Now, the Ghost type ones are actually really funny because you can see the grayed out Aegislash in the background, because if Aegislash is in Blade or Shield form, it's going to have the most absurd stats, so I guess it's kind of in there, not really taking up too much space from the other Pokemon. You know, Dusknoir, don't really see it too much. Cofagrigus, very ridiculous defensive tank. As we can see right here, you know, we have 115, 140, 140, 140s for all this defensive tankiness. Drifblim, my man, holding it down with the highest hit points for special, or not special, for flying type Pokemon and ghost type Pokemon. Grass is another surprising one because you don't expect the highest special attack to be with Roserade and Exeggutor because you don't see them. That's kind of it. Ferrothorn, naturally going to be super tanky. Sceptile, very fast. And then Breloom and the Go-Go also here as well. And even speedy Pokemon for Ghost. You expect with Pokemon like Gengar, and even thinking back to the first generation with Alakazam, you expect for faster Ghost-type Pokemon, but not really. And unfortunately, Froslass has an amazing typing. That Ice typing with that much speed really crushes down on some Dragon-type Pokemon, but not enough offenses to back it up, which is unfortunate. Golurk, Gyarados, all these Pokemon are very heavy for their respectiveness. And since Spiritomb is just like a dense rock of malevolence, it has a high BMI apparently. And Cagnia is also a really ridiculous Pokemon as well. It's just a small, spiky, heavy little ball. Rhyperior is also a really cool Pokemon. And again, as you can see, we just have like all these stats and lists breaking down. So I'm just looking for surprising ones. I don't want this video to be like 30 minutes long of just like Lapras, 130 hit points. Mamoswine, 130 attack. That's not that entertaining, but Lapras is also very, very powerful. I think one of the better ones, just looking at base stat totals, like those 4th generation, like 3rd stage evolutions are having a lot of power. There's Garchomp. There's the 600 base stat on the ground. Talking about Dugtrio, I recently did the Dugtrio strategy guide, so that's to be expected. Weavile, very fast Ice-type Pokemon. Kangaskhan, very tall, slacking, has absurd stats, but the Truant ability makes it, you know, not too fantastic, especially because you get Protect stalled, and then your day is done. Porygon Z makes a lot of sense for the special attack. Gengar for the poison typings as well. Amoonguss, hit points, very frustrating Spore Pokemon. Psychic is dominated by Metagross, however. Like, Wobbuffet has huge hit points. It's that counter ridiculousness right here. But then we have Metagross with 135 attack, 130 defense, and then also Pseudo Legendary on that 600 base stat total. Alakazam, fairly fast, 110 on that base speed, but again, also going to be highest on the special attack, and yet we still don't see it that often. That 135 offensive range is just not quite there unless you're using like a very high base power move, but Alakazam doesn't get high base power moves. It's mostly for coverage, and if it doesn't have the coverage, it's going to fall flat like a Greninja. Darmanitan, surprisingly enough, in its Zen mode, also has craziness. Oh, yo, guys, if you guys are rocking that Zen mode Darmanitan, I want to do another Fan Friday special, because that's one of the coolest things I've ever seen. We have Rock-type Pokemon, dominated by Shuckle on defenses. Surprising on the Omastar, because it Shell Smashes into a really good special attack. Aerodactyl, very fast Pokemon, very powerful with that as well. And then there's the Aegislash on everything but the Steelix, because as we saw, Steelix has ridiculous stats. And the attack has kind of taken all of the best of both worlds, except for the Excadrill. With the ground typing, yeah, we had Rhyperior with the highest and not Excadrill, so now we get to see it. Escavalier and Metagross, though, they were already there. Magnezone. So as we get further down the list, things start making a lot of sense. However, the fastest Steel-type Pokemon is only 109 on that speed with the Durant, so it makes a lot of sense, like going all the way back up here when it was very surprising on the Yanmega. It's also surprising on these guys as well, and then Water-type Pokemon. Kingler. Cookie with the highest attack for Water-type Pokemon since it isn't dual typing. We didn't see any of that crossover right there. Greninja, fastest Water-type. Base stat totals, Milotic and Kingdra surprisingly going to be up there. Kingdra has really cool base stats. Clauncher. So yeah, the stats kind of break through. Huge amounts of defense on that Cloyster, but you're shell smashing it away anyways. And then we have Clamperl. Makes sense. It's just a super heavy little rock. Aeron doing the same thing, Beldum. So we're actually seeing a lot of early stage evolutions, except for maybe on the Avalugg right here, when factoring all this BMI, like, that's going above and beyond the Call of Duty. That's putting in some crazy calculations of, like, very small, very heavy Pokemon right there. And then we have Wailords. Wailords everywhere. Even though I think Wailord is, like, one of the least dense Pokemon. It's actually less dense than air when you factor out its, like, mass to weight ratio, which is something pretty interesting, or yeah, something like that. So if you guys enjoyed the video, go check this out. I will leave a link in the description. Go give your praises, go use this for team building, but I hope it's something that can keep you guys entertained for now, because again, I don't want to, there's no really reason to update any of my guides at this point, because Sun and Moon's going to kind of invalidate it. Also, less people are kind of battling right now than ever, because we've had 3 years in the 6th generation. We're getting close to 3 years in the 6th generation, so maybe do smaller, vague videos like this, kind of like, alright, I'll give you that guidance, because people that are coming to the channel, they want to learn about Pokemon, they want to learn about competitive stuff like this. So if they don't find all the resources, or they don't have everything for them, it does get a little complicated, so maybe just have, like, guidance. As always, it's always been guides on my channel. So giving that guidance, giving some overall ideas like this, because I've done like 2 videos on this page exclusively about Serebii, and then it's cameoed in a lot more. So guys, enjoy the video. Hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.